Yeah, I do want to know. Ben Steinberg, we got 2 baby days.
I know. You going to do a drash?
Yeah.
Do a drash. So after the drash, I'm going to do that. So, I'll say a few words. We start with the then we're going to go to...
So here's a question.
Yeah. Everything else is normal. Yes. Yeah.
So we'll do more. I'll do one after
Do one before, before Mara.
and I'll do one at the other part.
Yeah. We do.
Yeah. So I'll do it after the Hajj.
Okay. And for this, let me give you the psalm.
So, hey, did you know that apparently I'm no longer officiating at the Byron's Barber?
No?
Neither did I.
Who's that? Now it's Steve?
Right, the fact that before the orientation,
Right.
I remember we were in a meeting. I said to Jen, you know, that's mine. Jen said, they requested. Now, maybe it's because I don't make phone calls that time. And in fact, I even
right.
thinking about it this way. But
I know.
the only reason I knew is because I asked Selena why nobody's coming to my laboratory. Well, now this is news.
Yep.
What's weird to me is they carry that.
So after Hinamatov, I'm going to go to Psalm 98. Okay. And I'll introduce it because it's also a Steinberg piece. And then we can do, you want to do candles after Lachadodi or before? It's up to you. Okay. Fine. All right. So we're using these for the service when we're at the table. We can use these when we go to the aisle.
All right.
What?
Grandfather. Oh, there he is, right there. Black rented. Talking to him.
Yeah. And I did his kids swim.
Yeah, Hillary?
Yeah. I was in the tent. That was one of them.
Well, it's funny because Hillary's older kid was close with
All right. Okay.
Were you playing tennis today?
Yeah, but at 7 in the morning. So
Because
you guys were not.
I was going to say we were on the 11th green, and I said, I wonder if Gurney.
How'd you play? Yeah.
But better than I have been playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take a lessons again.
Yeah. I get it.
All right. That's like a glare. All right. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Such a lovely, beautiful evening to be together. As we're taking our seats, I'll invite everyone to just take a minute, reach into your handbag, reach into your pocket. Make sure that your cell phones are turned off. Not on silent, not on vibrate, but just powered off. And we'll begin our service this evening on page 10. Page 10 with the words of Hine Matov, how good, how lovely it is that we can all sit and welcome Shabbat together.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. Tonight we're honoring the memory of Ben Steinberg. Passed away just this past week at 94. For the last 60 years, he's been one of the shining lights, composer of synagogue music. Born and raised in Toronto, Canada, he served the Sinai Temple there for more than 40 years as its music director. And I had the privilege and pleasure of knowing him when I was a student at Hebrew Union College. He was there numerous times to do artist in residence and teaching sessions. His music is a reflection of who he was. Refined, elegant, kind, well-spoken, deeply skilled pianist and composer and musician. Composed a lot of music for outside the synagogue as well, but some of his melodies really became anthems in the Reform movement. You'll hear one of those later, his Shalom Rav, which you'll recognize. Oh, I know that one. And a few other pieces tonight, too. We honor his memory as one of the leading composers of synagogue music, really the entire second half of the 20th century. Here is one such piece of his. We're on page, let me find the page for you. It's a setting of Psalm 98, page 15, page 15. And since he was the son of a cantor, he really had a wonderful understanding of the cantorial style and a beautiful sense of melody. In this setting, he uses the opening line as a refrain, which means it's going to happen a few times, right? And when that does, you're supposed to sing along with me, right? And it's just that second line, Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, okay? Sing to God, sing a new song. Page 15. Mizamor Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, 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 Shir Chadash, Ki niflaot asach, O shialo yemino,
Uzroa Kodesho Odi Adonai Yeshuato Lene Agoim Kila Sidkato Shiru Adonai Shir Chadash Shiru Shiru Adonai Shir Chadash Shiru Adonai Shir Chadash Shiru Adonai Shir Chadash Zachar Chasto Be'amunato Levet Yisrael Ra'u Cholasei Haaretz Et Yeshuat Eloheinu Shiru l'Adonai Shir Chadash Shiru l'Adonai Shir Chadash Shiru l'Adonai Shir Chadash Shiru l'Adonai Shir Chadash.
We'll turn now to page 20. Page 20 for L'Chadodi, the acrostic, mystical poem that imagines that as Shabbat enters our lives and enters our world and our homes and our synagogues and communities on Friday evenings as the sun sets, that it does so in much the same way as a bride arrives at a wedding with that moment of magic and mystery and majesty. And so we'll join together in verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And when we reach verse 9, we'll rise and turn and face the doors to the chapel as if to greet that Shabbat bride.
L'chadodi likrat kahala pnei Shabbat nekabela L'chadodi likrat kahala pnei Shabbat nekabela L'chadodi likrat kahala pnei Shabbat nekabela L'chadodi nikrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela Shahamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Hishmi'anu el hamiyuchad Adonai echad u'shamo echad Hashem u'tiveret v'litehin la L'chadodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela L'chadodi nikrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela Likrat Shabbat lechu v'neilcha ki hi mekor habracha mehirosh mikedem nesucha סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה התעוררי כי באורי קומי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה Beau בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוכם עיני עם סגולה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה, לך אדוני, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We can all be seated. So many wonderful things to be celebrating on this Shabbat. We're going to celebrate with Zach and his family as he's called to the Torah tomorrow morning as bar mitzvah. We're so happy and excited for you and your family. Also, a couple of babies, new babies, young children who we are officially giving Hebrew names to this evening. And first, I'm going to ask Harlan to come up here and to bring your parents with you.
Come on.
Yeah, bring Dash
Come
too.
on, sweetie.
Bring everybody. Why not? All right. Look at what a dapper family this is. I'm just saying. I would have brought my blue Nikes too had I known. All right. Here we go. All right. This is nothing like the bris. Come on, that was a better joke than that. The rabbis teach that each and every child carries a unique blessing into the world. O Lord our God, grant unto Hillary and John wisdom to teach their son Torah, knowledge to rear him with a generous love for all human beings, and the sensitivity to nourish the full flowering of his potential. Be praised, O God, the source of life. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu kayam et hayeled. Bless him and keep him from all harm. May his parents rear him to dedicate his life in faithfulness to God, his heart always receptive to Torah and mitzvot. Then he shall bring blessing to his parents, his people, and all the world. Amen. And we'll join together in the Shechianu, thanking God for the blessing of reaching this beautiful and sacred moment.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Amen.
Zalto. Doesn't get any better than that. We'll turn now to page 26. Page 26 for Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא יברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בהגנה, ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה, ויתהלל שמי דקודשה, בריחו לילה, מן כל ברכתך ושירתך, תושבחתך ונחמתך, תמירן בעלמה, ואמרו Amen.
And we'll welcome Shabbat with Shabbat light, with the lighting of our Shabbat candles. And we're going to invite Zach and his family up here to lead us.
Bring the light of Shabbat in and we join together in the bracha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner להדליק נר של שבת.
We'll rise now and turn to page 28 for Baruch Hu.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam vad.
Let's join together in the English, the top of page 31. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and seasons glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows.
Elekai v'kayam, tamidim l'chaleinu le'olam v'en. Baruch atah Adonai, amari v'aravim. Ahavat olam, God's gift to us, is the Torah itself. Ahavat olam et Yisrael amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu B'shokbenu v'kumenu na'asiach b'chukecha. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu B'shokbenu v'kumenu na'asiach b'chukecha. V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha ובמצוותיך, ובמצוותיך, לעולם yomam vaed ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nehege yomam va'layla ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nehege yomam va'layla ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nehege yomam va'layla ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nehege yomam va'layla ve'ahabatecha al tasir mimenu olamim Baruch ata Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Mahalechuto Leolam Vaed.
We can be seated.
Zachary, Zola, Immerman, come up here now. It's good to be the cantor. Right? Because they have to listen to you. Right? Let's all join together in the chanting of the Ahavta. You mind if I join with you?
No.
I bet you don't. Here we go.
Okay. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך וחיות הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך ושרתם לעוד על ידך לטפות בין עיניך וכתמתם על מזוזות ביתך ופי שעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי ויהם לאלושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We read together on page 37.
Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of our hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God.
You're free. And you, Zach, like the children of Israel, when they sang Mi Chamocha, they were free. Now you're free. Page 40, let's all join in our ancient song of redemption, which we just encountered in the Torah just 2 weeks ago, the middle of that ancient poem song, Mi Chamocha. together. Yai la 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 ya la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 ya la 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 la. Yai la la la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh norati lot osefel malchutka ra'uvanecha okeyam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam malchutka ra'uvanecha okeyam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam yai la 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 ya la 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 yai la 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 yai la 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 ya la 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 yai la 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 zeli anu ve'amru Adonai לעולם, לעולם ועד. יאי לה 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 יאי לה 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 יאי לה 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 יאי לה 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 יאי לה 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 יאי לה 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 ונאמר יפד אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל אמן.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will.
Baruch atah Adonai Aparei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu v'yakramo Yisrael v'yad Yerushalayim. Amen. Page 44, we join in Vishamra. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'rit olam. Your turn. Come on, you're on TV. There we go. Beni b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, v'shamru. Shet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et hashabat la'asot et Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השני שבת, שבת, וביום השביעי שבת, 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 וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל. לדורותם ברית עולם.
Turn now to page 46 and we rise for the Amidah.
Zach, come join us.
Adonai Sefataf Tiftach Ufia Gitachilatecha Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Ve'Elohei Avotenu Ve'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak Ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol V'Hagibor V'Chanora El Elyon Gomel Hasagim Tovim V'Konei Ha'akol V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imot Umevi Geolah Livnei V'Neihem Leman Shamo B'Achava Melech Gozer U'Mashiach U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Gain Abraham Ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav Lechoshia Mashim HaRuach Hagrin HaGasham Mechakel Chaim Bechesed Mechakel Chakol Berachabim Rabim Lo Mechrofim Elterolim Umatzmi Rasurim Umanke Amunato Nichene Afa Michamocha Baal Gevurot Umiawelach Melech Mimid Umechayeh Umatzmi Al Yeshua Mekak Manakra Lakanyom Tarko Baruch Atah Adonai Eloyeh HaKol.
Continue with the remainder of our Amidah silently through page 62, either with the words on the pages of the prayer book or the words of our hearts.
Page 60. Our prayer for peace. And this unforgettable and exquisite setting by Ben Steinberg. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon Chol ha-shalom. Ki atahu melech adon L'chol ha-shalom. V'tov be'enecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Baruch atah Adonai oseh ha-shalom.
We take a moment amidst our joy and our celebration on this Shabbat to think of loved ones, family members, members of our community who are in need of healing. And in just a moment, in the middle of page 253, we'll offer a Misha Berach, a prayer of healing for them. This evening, we're particularly thinking of Nicole Alcove, Simon Aziz, Emily Blau, Carol Brook, Jacob Friedman, Merlot Gadushi, Levi Jonathan, James Klein, Cindy Lederer, Jack Liebhaber, Ronald Lanicki, Michael Levy, Philip Marber, Annette Pansky, Gary Gartzman, Trevor Sangster, Charles Schwartz, Karen Shanbrom, and Alan Sorority. If you're thinking of someone tonight who could use a bit of healing, a bit of wholeness, I invite you to rise at this time, and as my eyes meet yours, share that name aloud. Sheberach Avotenu Mekor HaBaracha Reimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Again, so many things to be celebrating tonight. We have another baby naming. I'm going to invite Valerie to come up here to bring your parents with you, please. And Valerie, as you are making your way up here, I will take a moment of rabbinic privilege and share a fun fact with you, which is to say, you and I have the same birthday.
No.
You do. You do. We have the same birthday. I'm 3 years older than you, but we have this. We have the same birthday. That's right. Tomorrow's our half birthday. What are we doing to celebrate? You're going to have half the cake. I'll have the other half. Right. Maybe. Well, every child comes into the world with a message that God is not discouraged with us. For with every birth comes the hope for a world redeemed, a world without pain, violence, and war. Every birth brings fresh energy into the world and greater fulfillment and purpose to all of our lives. Each new child is testimony to our conviction that we still believe that life is good and that life is worthwhile. And that hope is right here. And it's the reason that we're celebrating in this beautiful moment. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu kayam et hayalda hazot le'aviv u'le'ima v'yikareh shma b'Yisrael Mia bat Moshe v'Michal. ישמח האב ביוצא הצה ותגל אימה בפרי בטנה. זאת הקטנה גדול, יהיה כשם שנכנס לברית, כן תיכנס לתורה ולחופה ולמעשים טובים. Our God and God of our people, sustain this child and let her be known in the house of Israel as Mia bat Moshe v'Michal. May the one who blessed our people bless her, keep her from all harm. May she grow to have a heart that is always receptive to Torah and mitzvot. Then she will bring blessings to her parents, her people, and all the world. No pressure. We'll join together in Shechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Amen. Mazel tov.
Recruit for you probably later, Doc.
No, right now.
All right.
You can go down now.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Cantor, Gurney, and I were together at the Glazer campus on Thursday morning sharing bagels at our clergy meeting. Our clergy meets every Thursday, half the time in person now, half the time on Zoom. And we have sort of a running joke, as it were, that someone often makes when our agenda is a little bit light and we look like, God forbid, we might end a little bit early. Someone will say, well, let's talk about kashrut. And whether it's in person or on Zoom, there's sort of a collective groan in the room. You see, every couple of years, we seem to end up having some version of a conversation about the kashrut policy for the temple, the schools, events, camps, the Karsh Center, the Audrey Irma's Pavilion, the Resnick campus. Bonnie's back there listening with, right, your ears have perked up wondering if I'm going to tell you we just decided Thursday to change something. No grapes. I don't know. It goes something like, well, if they have a Chinese chicken salad at the kiddish lunch, can they serve cheese pizza on the other side of the room for the kids? Or if they serve meat at the meal, what about a dairy dessert? Well, there's an old joke based on the 3 appearances of the commandment, you shall not boil a kid in its mother's milk. The first of those occurrences we find in this week's Torah portion. As the joke goes, God says to Moses, you shall not boil a kid in its mother's milk. And Moses replies, oh, you mean we should never eat any meat and any dairy together? And God says, you shall not boil a kid in its mother's milk. Moses replies, well, you mean we should wait 3 to 6 hours between eating meat and dairy? God says, you shall not boil a kid in its mother's milk. Moses says, okay, well, you mean that we should have 2 separate sets of dishes, one for meat and one for dairy. That's the third one for Pesach. And separate pots, separate pans, separate utensils, separate knives, separate sponges, maybe 2 dishwashers, perhaps a second sink, to which God replies, fine, have it your way. All kidding aside, the foundation for kashrut comes from this week's Torah portion. And whatever your personal take on kashrut is, whatever your dinner plans are tonight, I'm not here to judge. But this is our ancestors' ancient way of reminding us to put a little bit of thought into what we eat, into what we serve to those whom we welcome into our homes, what we place into our shopping cart as we scroll through the grocery store or scroll through Instacart. Our tradition teaches us that we ought to have a certain mindfulness when it comes to food. Now, for some, that mindfulness comes with other labels: organic, hormone-free, free-range, cage-free, grass-fed, anything from Erewhon. But before all those labels, long before Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, came kashrut. Because our ancestors knew that there's value in restricting what we eat so that we have to put a little bit of thought into it. A little bit of thought into what could otherwise be an ordinary, mundane act. Eating. After all, that's what so much of Judaism is really about, transforming the ordinary, the mundane, the daily quotidian, into the extraordinary, elevating it into something sacred, special, holy. A little food for thought as we sit at our Shabbat tables tonight. Shabbat Shalom.
This next liturgical selection was composed by Ben Steinberg, and he composed it for his beloved rabbi of Sinai Temple in Toronto. He was a dear friend and colleague, and the rabbi, Jordan Perlson, was also his teacher. So he chose these texts to set to honor him. One is from the book of Deuteronomy. Another is from the traditional Misha Berach that we chant on Shabbat morning, where the prayer leader blesses the entire congregation. Right? And the third is from Pirkei Avot, the Ethics of the Fathers, literally translated. And it begins with that quote, the words, Aseh lecha rav, find a teacher. Find for yourself a teacher. Ukaneh lecha chaver, right? And also find a friend. We were studying this very phrase at our same clergy meeting on Thursday. And we all had, of course, different opinions, just like the rabbis of the Talmud. My sense of it was, find yourself a rabbi, and you will also find yourself a friend. Find yourself a teacher, and that teacher will be your friend. Others saw it differently, that they're separate. Aseh lecha rav is a commandment, which means you must find yourself a teacher. And also find a friend with whom to study. Variety of interpretations. A little bit about the music, so you can keep your ears open, right? The opening just starts with cello and flute. You're going to hear in the flute line, he's quoting Torah cantillation. You're going to hear a sound da 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 da. Right? So it gives you a hint. No words, just the sounds of Torah chant. Okay? And the rest is up to us. I hope we can do it. Aseh lecha rav by the late great Ben Steinberg. Aseh lecha rav uknei lecha chaver. Aseh lecha rav. Vayomer Moshe Re'eni maretiyechem chukim u'mishpatim kasher tzivani Adonai Elohai. ושמרת את חוקיו ואת מצוותיו אשר אנוכי מצווך היום אשר ייטב לך ולבניך אחריך ולמען תאריך ימים על האדמה אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך שמרת את חוקיו ואת מצוותיו אשר אנוכי מצווך היום אשר ייטב לך ולבניך אחריך ולמען תאריך ימים על האדמה אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך כל הימים עשה לך רב וקנה לך חבר יהי רצון מלפניך לברך. יהי רצון מלפניך לברך. את החוקים בצורכי ציבור. ובבניין ארץ ישראל אמונה. וישלח ברכה והצלחה. וישלח ברכה והצלחה לכל מעשה ידיהם עם כל ישראל, הכל ישראל אחיהם, ונאמר Thank you, Ben.
Beautiful. I couldn't help think, though, Don, when you said that Cantor Steinberg composed that piece for his beloved rabbi, that you've yet to compose something for me.
If only I were a composer.
Fair enough.
But I could commission a composer to write something
Fair
for
enough.
you. We'll talk about what text you want me to
Fair
have
enough.
set for you.
We'll turn now to page 282, page 282, the bottom of the page, and we'll rise for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד.
We can be seated. Turn our thoughts now to sacred moments of memory, moments of Kaddish, as we think of loved ones, family members who are no longer with us. If you're here tonight to say Kaddish for a loved one, we ask that you rise at this time. We begin by thinking of those of whom we're in a period of shloshim, those who have died during these past 30 days. We call to mind Camille Adar, Joel Atchel, Muriel Blankford, Virginia Bulcan, Albert Greenfield, Lois Malvoin, Joyce Olin, Joel Ostro, Louis Rosen, Ruth Rosenberg, and Tamara Stolyarski. We add to their names the names of those whose yahrzeits occurred during this past week: Ann Abrams, Norman Abrams, Rachel Elmo, Lucy Armel, Lionel Bell, Jean Berlfein, Evelyn Black, Fanny Blatt, Saul Block, Alex Chaskis, Gerald Chaskis, Jenny Chortek, Michael Caulfield, Benjamin Cohen, Max Duell, Barry Dean, Michael Ellis Jr., Lawrence Feinstein, Douglas Feld, Charles Fenton, Harvey Fields, Floyd Fierman, Robin Fisher, Marvin Frankel, Herbert Frankel, Goldie Friedman, Sam Gleibert, Bessie Ginsberg, Donald Glabman, Jean Glass, Ginger Glazer, Esther Golad, Sidney Goldberg, Samuel Goldman, Edward Greenberg, Martin Greenberg, David Grover, William Hackerman, Sam Hallam, Alan Hervey, Milton Heskill, Arnold Holstein, Lola Jameson, Max Kamens, Leon Kent, Peter Kopelson, Sylvia Krausen, Freda Kurtzman, Laura Kurt, Shirley Landsman, Eva Lane, Gerald Levitt, Adrian Lee, James Levitch, Sarah Levine, Edna Levine, Ronald Levine, Dottie Levison, Marco Levy, Samuel Lipkin, Myron Magid, Sarah Mankoff, Paula Marenberg, Ilona Marston, Augusta Marks, Irving Miller, Edith Miller, George Minster, Tajay Newman, Hazel Ormston, Daniela Ortiz Favish, Robert Van Patten Pauley, Andrea Pennington, Leslie Perloff, Louis Peters, Dorothy Phelps, Edward Phillips Sr., Gail Prizer, William Rogers, Sally Ralston, Sonia Rosenblum, Rudy Salomons, Ida Saltzman, Sue Schneider, Rose Schwimmer, Beverly Seeger, Samuel Schaefer, Ann Schumann, Francis Silverman, Samuel Sims, Saul Slan, Miriam Spurtis, Gertrude Teitelman, Jess Uslin, Myron Varon, Martin Wagmeister, Alan Weinberger, Etta Weissman, Bernard Yeager, Sam Yeskel, and Dorothy Zucker. There are names to add or a name that I've mispronounced. Please feel free to add it at this time. We also call to mind those to whom we are grateful but do not know, those who have fallen defending the flags of the United States of America, the state of Israel, all the innocent victims of senseless terrorism and violence all over the world, and everyone who has no one to say Kaddish for them. We take them into our hearts as our own Zichronam Livracha. May their memories always be for a blessing. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 294. We rise. Itgadal v'itkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'alma divrach chirutei ve'yamlich malchutei.
V'chaye chol v'yomei chol. V'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. V'agad alav zman karim v'imru. Amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam lomei almaya. Yitparach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudsha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran ve'alma v'yimeru. Amen. Yehi shalom Rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Imru. Amen. Ya'aseh shalom. Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom. Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom. Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom. Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please join us, Kiddush and Motzi.
Come on up here, you guys.
I don't even have it.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshana b'mitzvotav, v'ratza banu, v'shabbat kodsho, be'ahava uvratzon hinkilanu, zikaron maaseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techilach למקראי קודש, זכר יציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Amen. Chaim. That means drink up. Okay. Thirsty, Zach. It's a good thing it's not wine. All right, Zachariah, hold this in your hands. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Share that with your family. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Come to the table for a little oneg Shabbat.